Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, it didn't take Mr. Medvedev, the former Prime Minister and President of the Russian Federation, too long to come back and smack the Brits. What happened? Well, yesterday, if you remember, if you don't, I remind you now, the new Defense Minister or Secretary of Defense of Great Britain said that he intends to bring troops in Ukraine and maybe some to training, just euphemistic, just to trainers, just to train the Ukrainian troops in Ukraine, which that is bringing troops and from there do whatever they want. Also bring the Royal Navy in the Black Sea. No escalation right there. This is the video I made yesterday regarding this issue. And today we have idiots, saying, oh, you know what, maybe that's a good idea. Also, if you remember, I hope you do, the Germans, one called Zimmermann, a elected official in the Bundestag, is that how you call it? I think, not Bundeswehr, Bundestag. She's a really, anyway, she says that more weapons and more everything for Ukraine. Ukraine deserves this. Russia doesn't deserve anything, but So here you have 4 articles regarding Medvedev's answers to these guys with the troops and with to Zimmermann's we should send the long-range missiles to Ukraine, and Russia is a legitimate target for these missiles, she said, Zimmermann. So she said, if we send Taurus missiles, 500 kilometers radius, they should be entitled, is legal for the Ukrainians to hit Russian targets inside Russia, which I think it is, but you are kind of involved in all this then, Germany. You are involved anyway. So we have, excuse me, we have Medvedev's answers, and let's start with this one. Ukrainska Pravda. Deputy head of Russia's Security Council threatens to strike German missiles manufacturing plants. That's exactly what I said. Well, that means Russia will hit these manufacturing plants from Rheinmetall and others, but wherever they are. I said they could hit them in Germany, but we'll see if they're going to hit them in Germany or they will stop only in Ukraine. But by the way Medvedev worded his statements, it means everywhere, because you're gonna see. Let me just read a little bit here what he says. Dmitry Medvedev said that his country will consider German missiles manufacturing plants a quote-unquote legitimate target if Germany gives long-range Taurus missiles to Ukraine. So if Germany gives Taurus to Ukraine, the Russians will hit manufacturing plants, German manufacturing plants. They didn't say that there are any manufacturing plants in Ukraine, German ones. They're planning on, but they're not there. So he said, if you give them, we're going to hit the targets. We're going to hit who made them. So if the Germans make them, they will be legitimate targets, according to this guy. So Medvedev was dismayed that Marie Agnes Strack Zimmermann, chair of the Defense Committee of the German Bundestag, urged the German government to give long-range Taurus missiles to Ukraine because, she said, Ukraine has the right to attack targets on the territory of the Russian Federation. I think Ukraine has that right because Russia does that to them too. So what kind of fight is that if only you can punch me in the face but I can't punch you back in the face? I mean, to be honest, and I'm quoting Medvedev, in this case, attacks on German plants where these missiles are made will be entirely within the norms of international law. These imbeciles, says Medvedev, really are pushing us towards the Third World War. Again, Medvedev also threatened the UK that Russia will attack British military instructors after UK Defense Minister Grant Shapstein, he's Zelensky Stein, check him out, said that his country, his country, would expand its training program to Ukrainian soldiers, and transfer training and production of military equipment to Ukraine. It's interesting. These guys, Zelensky, Stein, Schapstein, what's his name, Blinkenstein, all these guys make decisions with those nations. You know what I mean? So all these Steins are in charge of the nations that go and die or could be destroyed. Not them. Not this Schapstein. No. Not Zelensky Stein or Blinkenstein. All these guys, if, let's say, something happens to Ukraine, Zelensky Stein is going to be in, as I said, London, United States or Israel. That's where it's going to end up. So this is one. Let's go to the next article, which is from Reuters. So Reuters, Russia could target any British soldiers training troops in Ukraine, Medvedev said. Yep, I would go even further than that. If you bring your shit here, we're going to bring my shit to you. I mean, it's only fair, no? If you punch me in the face, it's fair to punch you in the face. Well, we didn't punch you in the face, but it seems like you punch us in the face through these guys. So, So, Medvedev said on Sunday, any British soldiers training Ukrainian troops in Ukraine would be legitimate targets for Russian forces. That goes without saying. As would German factories producing Taurus missiles should they supply Kiev. They supply, so they didn't say they produce in there. So, and I'm quoting, this will turn their instructors into a legal target for our armed forces, understanding perfectly well that they will be ruthlessly destroyed, and not as mercenaries, but namely as British NATO specialists, end quote, Medvedev wrote on Telegram. So, yeah, so let's go to the next article. The same thing, Russia's Medvedev says British training troops in Ukraine could be legitimate targets. And then we go to the last article from Sputnik, Medvedev on UK plan to deploy training troops in Ukraine. Morons, and I'm quoting, morons push us towards World 3. Well, I think it's only accurate to describe that. I know they will claim that this guy started it and so on, but it's always look at the source. All right, so if you look at the fire, say, hey, that's a fire, and then these guys are putting gasoline on the fire. They are responsible. How they frame it. They are responsible for the fire. No, responsible for the fire is the person who put the fire together and ignited it with a match or whatever they had. That's the person. All right. So don't tell me for make it bigger. Without you starting it, it would have been no fire. Well, the Russians started it. Well, if someone comes towards you with the intention to, what are you gonna do? Just wait for it, and then you immobilize that person physically, and then say, hey, he was aggressive towards the guy who was approaching him with So take that into consideration as well. Well, I'm not saying the Russians were here entirely the victims. I think the victims are the Ukrainian nation is the victim. That's the primordial victim. Then I think it's the Russians, and then I think it's us. All right, because without us, these guys would not have the war machine and the financial power and economic power to go and push people around. And the army, remember, the US military is not to protect us, it's to protect those big interests in other countries to make more money. Those businesses, let's say, want to invest somewhere, they create a little problem with politics and the mass media, which is, all of a sudden you violate whatever human right. We have to intervene to save your people from you. And then they send the military, they change the government, and the government gets the big business in at a discount. And they get the perks. And then they occupy the resources. That's how it works. Look around and look what happened to Iraq, for instance, how they reconstructed Iraq. They didn't do squat. The same with Afghanistan. They invested billions of dollars in those two countries. Anything changed? No. Some companies made a lot of money. Did we get any benefit out of that? Yeah, a lot of money went over there, paid for reconstructing another country instead of reconstructing our roads, our schools, our hospitals, garbage. Not all of them, but I've been very much in touch with this. With hospitals, police departments, schools in bad shape. Anyway, here you have it. Medvedev is gonna hit those. I hope that he is going to, you know, make himself understood to the other guys to stop their idiotic push, because really it's gonna escalate. And maybe the Russians will hit those manufacturing companies in wherever they produce. In Germany, boom. And what are you gonna do, Germany? Go to war with Russia? You will, because remember, United States, Al Capone is far away. He's in his office. You are in the field. So yeah, Russia can hit you immediately. And what are you going to do? Yeah, we have to defend ourselves. Okay, we'll see how you defend yourselves. These guys are idiots. But no, I think they do it because there's a plan to do it, not because, oh, it just happens. How about we send some troops over there? Those things were already planned a long time ago. And as it goes and it switches right or left, they take, you know, the folder that, hey, that point is take left turn, we take this folder, it takes this, we take this folder. They got their plans already done. And so do the Russians. If they don't, they deserve to disappear as a independent country. Why? Because that means you can't even think ahead of the dangers of other wolves trying to rip you apart. I don't know. Well, sometimes certain things are of our own doing, and I hope that this war stops. That's the first thing. And then they can discuss. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.